I want to go with gaps because gaps are one of my favorite setups to play. Very, very easy to play, and I love them. I think it's gaps are amazing. So I'm gonna go with like this. This is a UPS trade that I took, I think a few weeks ago. UPS had this gap here. Let's go with, okay. It had this whole gap here, like that. Let's put in blue. Every time you guys see a blue level on my chart are gaps, right? So this entire area was a gap because I'm gonna start from before. Because before I entered anything, this is how UPS was looking, right? This is how UPS was looking. So we have a huge gap here from earnings. So you have the resistance here after the gap is around 155. And then you have another resistance here after you have the gap, and then try to bounce here and then give you this entire empty space till, let's just say 148. Let's just put a round number. 157, I'm sorry, 155, 148, right? So how do you play gaps? There's nothing you can do with the UPS at here. It's not even near gaps. You want to trade gaps, you wait until it goes near the gap, you wait. What I do is I put alerts before the gaps, right? So because I want to see how it's going to react near the gap. I want to see before breaks this resistance here and kind of getting prepared to what contracts I want to trade, how long I'm going to hold those contracts, everything. So I always put alerts before the gaps. And I wait until it breaks this resistance here. Pretty much the start of the gap is a resistance. And then I wait for either a consolidation a few days at the gap or just a break and retest to play the upside. Something to pay attention is here with gaps is sometimes gap don't fill entirely. Sometimes you can have a gap running until here because I can see have a little bit of resistance here, and other times it can be until here, another resistance, and then it just goes down. So don't, if you're gonna go and play the gap, don't hold your entire position for the entire gap, especially if it is a very big gap like this one, right? So this is how UPS played out after. So I enter it here, but I wanna because of something else, but I gave the alert when UPS was around here, right? So before UPS started to play, move, and fill the entire gap, I saw UPS was broke this. I'm gonna put it red because at that time was resistance. So broke this resistance here, and then you see it consolidating at the start of the gap. And what it's doing here, it's making a support, right? You guys can see it was resistance here, but now we see a wick here, another wick, and then it's just holding. So you see it's kind of making a consolidation here. Again, the bigger the consolidation, the bigger the move is gonna do after. So I'm trying to find the day that I post about this trade because I want you guys to see exactly what I was doing and what was my plan there and what I post on my Discord. Yeah, it's here, right here. Okay, I have it here. So look how UPS was looking when I called out this trade. It was March. Oh, this is the okay. So it was making a consolidation at support, right? Making a consolidation at support. So if I see it correctly, it was like this. It was like this. So it's making a consolidation at support, and this is looking like a flag, right? Making a consolidation at support. Let me show you guys. And this is what happened after. You have a breakout of the consolidation, and then it went boom for the entire gap and even higher. So again, daily time frame, uptrend, consolidation at support, flag. You have a huge gap above. What do you think is gonna happen here? It's gonna be very, very weird if UPS just die here, unless the market has bad news. But this is what I call an A+ setup. You have pretty much everything on this setup that is telling you go, right? Like buy calls. You have nothing against you. You have the trend, you have consolidation on daily time frame, you have a very long period of consolidation, you have a flag, you have a gap. Nothing is against this trade. I see it had this little resistance here at 152. I bought calls here. I bought calls, I think it was 1 month out or 3 weeks out, because it took so long to do something that I knew UPS was a slow mover. Like there's this thing that we need to understand how each stocks move. So we know Nvidia and Tesla can move like 10 points very easy in one day. But we also know Apple barely moves like max 3 points, right? $3. So it's very important to understand how the stocks that you're playing move. And you see that on the chart, on the daily chart. So here we can see UPS took like 2 weeks to consolidate, right? So if you really think about this, how long do you need to buy your contracts out? Like how many days do you need to buy your contracts, right? So it most likely is not gonna take 1 day for this move to play out. That's why I bought 3 weeks out or 1 month out. And then huge gap. We need to also pay attention to if we have anything that is gonna be a resistance inside the gap, right? So I had 152, and I remember very clearly playing it on the stream that I bought calls here, and then when it got to 152, I took most of my profits because again, it's resistant. We have a little resistance here, and sometimes when you have huge gaps, the gaps don't fill out like right away, or it can give you like spaces that it never fill out. And this is what happened. Boom. You 1 day, it took 1 day to go to 152. I took most of my profits there. And then my runners, I was like, I'm not selling it unless it breaks my stop loss, which is here, these little wicks here. So this is my stop loss right here. That's my stop loss. Let's put it green now because that's the support that you don't want to see UPS losing. My risk to reward here, it was, this is my stop loss. This is my PT. So it's a 3.86 risk to reward. Anything that is 2 or above is what I like. I like 2 or above, right? So I left few runners, never went even under the day that I entered this trade, and it just kept going and going and going. Again, never making a new lower low, clear uptrend, and then I sold everything before it filled the gap. I remember I sold pretty much everything before 155 because sometimes you can have like a gap fill and then it just rejected hard with a huge candle, right? So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be greedy. It's almost at my PT. I'm all out. And then I had a few people asking me that if it was too late to enter this trade, if I thought UPS was gonna go even higher. And I was like, yeah, it's definitely to enter. The entry is again at support, not at resistance if you're playing an upside. And there's no way we would know that UPS was gonna do this. Most of the time you see something that is consolidating, fills the gap, and then just rejected there or just stay around there. You don't, most of the time you don't have something like that. And there's no way we're gonna know, we know that, what's gonna happen after the gap fill. So that's a gap, that's another very easy setup that I love playing.